I just want people to understand how hard it's been for me to know that Nicolas Cage would show up and not just scream, Nicolas Cage is gonna show up in this episode. Just hold on.
So there comes a point where we are tracking down the various trajectories of these dinosaurs, and we realize that a dinosaur that Nicolas Cage is known to have purchased in California for $200,000, that skull traced back to the Procopi dinosaurs. It was a Batar skull, and as such was likewise forfeitable because it was interstate transferred property that was stolen.
And originated in
Mongolia, was stolen under Mongolian law. And so I reached out and contacted Nicolas Cage's attorneys. Right around this time, my wife had given birth to our first child, my daughter Zora, and I took a few weeks of paternity leave. And the event that brought me back from paternity was a business trip I had to take to Los Angeles in order to inspect with the agents Nicolas Cage's dinosaur skull in Nicolas Cage's storage depot.
How Nicolas Cage was it?
It wasn't as Nicolas Cage as one might expect it to be. There were some big and neat-looking geodes in there. I don't think he had a whole lot stored in there at the time.
I can see him as a geode guy, though. That does make sense.
So we took a look at the skeleton, which existed in 3 parts at the time. It's sort of like each hemisphere of the head, and then sort of like the lower, sort of palate, which is longer than it would be on a person.
Just for the record here, for those only listening, Martin Bell, in describing Nicolas Cage's T-Rex skull, is describing the movie poster for the movie Face Off.
And so we're like, all right, yep, this looks good. And that, too, was ultimately shipped east, received by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. We filed another action for that skull, so that had its own civil case.
So we have a 4th repatriation coming soon. So this one, we have some number of Batar skulls being seized, including the one that was used to be owned by Nicolas Cage. So,
but that one, I think the last of the pieces involved in my case, was only repatriated, I think it's within the past year and a half. There was a ceremony at the Library of Congress in which Immigrations and Customs Enforcement repatriated that skull along with several other pieces. And so it's just one of those things where I'm
just going to stop you there.
Yeah.
It's literally not one of those things. There is no episode we've done that is less like one of those things than the story that involves you repatriating Nicolas Cage's dinosaur bones.
I suppose that's right. I have my Mongolian Presidential Medal of Friendship hanging in my office on a little sort of custom frame that I got done at Michael's. I think to myself, well, there it is, exactly as I'd planned it. And I want to make a couple of things clear relatively early on rather than face the wrath of Nicolas Cage and his attorneys. One, Mr. Cage's attorneys could not have been nicer or more professional about the whole thing. Number 2, Mr. Cage did the right thing.
Last December, actor Nicolas Cage agreed to return a stolen dinosaur skull he purchased in 2007 for $276,000 from a well-known gallery in Beverly Hills. He claims he didn't know it was stolen.
And I'm just grateful to have worked at a place that let me have what felt like actual adventures here and there.
Well, as somebody who grew up going on adventures to the Natural History Museum, to the Smithsonian, who takes his daughter now, Violet, to the museum to stand underneath these skeletons and marvel like Alan Grant did, I wonder, where are the bones now?
I have an answer. Mongolia ultimately repurposed an old Soviet-era office building in its capital, Ulaanbaatar, and the Batar bit is real, and turned it into a dinosaur museum and a major tourist attraction in Mongolia, largely based just on the haul that they got from this case. And it looks like a cool museum, honestly. Like, it's a couple of stories high. They've got dramatic lighting, and it's just this thing that exists halfway across the world now, in part because of the work that I was lucky enough to be able to participate in with my agency partners and the folks who supervised me at the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's not the sort of thing that is going to get me a Times obituary or a first pitch at Citi Field. Although, I mean, if Hawk Tuah can do it, I've arguably earned it based on my contributions to science and Mongolia.
And so this is where it does feel appropriate for me to just jump in and observe that, yes, of course, we here at Pablo Torre Finds Out did reach out to Nicolas Cage and his team in order to ask if Nicolas Cage ever got paid back for the dinosaur skull, or would perhaps like to visit it in the present, in Mongolia, even, maybe, with former federal prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, Martin Bell, whom Mr. Cage might remember from the time he prosecuted this case, while also being a big fan of his movies. And Mr. Cage's manager, in one of the most disappointing responses I've ever received hosting this show, or anything, had no comment. Which means that all we have to play for you right now is this video of Nicolas Cage sharing his perspective on this specific topic with GQ back in 2022.
There's the skull I bought at an auction, and I bought it legally. Here's the MacGuffin. When the Mongolian government said that they needed it back, I gave it to them, but I never got my money back. So somebody at the auction house should be in jail.
And so as for the recognition that Martin Bell was still hoping to receive back here at home from the world of sports, the world that he had abandoned memorably in favor of law school, yeah, I mean, I doubt he'll get to throw out a first pitch for his beloved New York Mets, unfortunately. But I am significantly more confident about something else. There will be a movie about this story, and all we need is for Nicolas Cage to break into that museum and repatriate his dinosaur skull.